Hi there, I'm Stacy, the encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. Hello, and welcome to another studio vlog. This one's probably going to be kind of short and sweet, but I wanted to test out a bunch of papers that I ordered forever ago now, and they've been sitting on my desk. So now is the time, and I'm going to be testing them out with India ink. My thought is I want to be able to draw on them and then embed these into the encaustic wax. So today I thought I would just test them out, drawing on them with India ink, maybe a couple pens, I'm not exactly sure. But let me flip the camera around and show you these papers. And I do not speak Japanese or Chinese, so I'm probably going to butcher the names of these. So I'm sorry if this is offensive or I'm not saying these correctly. I do apologize for that in advance. All right, and I thought I would show you if this focuses. This is where I got this paper from. Oh, that glare is bad. I think that's better. And where I got these super thin sheets of paper from. And these are extremely thin. And then these four, 3 rolls and 1 pad came from Blue Heron paper. All right, first up, this is Mulberry paper, Wenzhou Mulberry paper. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. This is from Blue Heron, and you can see it kind of has some stripes in it. And this comes in a roll, I believe it's 18 inches long, but it's somewhat see-through. And yeah, so let's see how this works. All right, I thought I would show you the other supplies. This is just a mixed media piece of paper that I'm putting this other thin paper on, because I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be some bleed through, and that way I'm not ruining the silicone mat here. Then I also have 2 different Sumi India inks. I have this one, and then I have Bombay, which happens to be one of my favorites. I have 2 India ink pens, which happen to be Faber-Castell. And then I have my Stabilo Marks All pencil, a bit of water, and then 2 containers to put the India ink in, and just a regular plain old well-used brush. And it's apparently time to get rid of that very well-used brush. I think they'll get another one. But again, it's just going to be a plain old, regular, inexpensive brush that I'm using. And yeah, I think this one's going in the trash. Apparently, I also have a dried up pen, so let me get another one of these. This is also going in the trash. All right, quick thoughts on this paper. One, it is extremely absorbent, and it it dries very quickly. It also can take a lot of water. I don't know if you really saw in the camera how much water I put down on that spot and ink, but it really can take a lot of it. It does have some, I don't know what you want to call it, but this right here, the ink really expanded. I don't know if that's called bleed. I think it's called bleed. Versus this is just on the mixed media paper, so there's not really any, you know, expansion of the, and that was the Faber-Castell Pip Pan in the brush tip. So, you know, it really expand. In the fine tip, it didn't seem to expand as much, and it didn't seem to expand quite as much as you used the ink up. But, you know, the first bits of ink, the ink really expands. It just doesn't kind of stay in place, if that makes sense. All right, up next, also from Blue Heron, we have Unsized Xuan. Again, don't know if I'm saying that right. It's Xuan. And this again has like those lines kind of running through it. And again, is fairly see-through. Alright, my thoughts are really very similar between these two papers. So let's try the next one. This paper is semi-sized. So let's see what happens here. Alright, here is Unsized Confucius. Well, battery died on that one, so I'm not sure how much you got, but let me flip you around and show you these 4 papers with the ink on it thus far. Alright, the semi-sized seem to bleed a bit less than the unsized, which that would make sense. In theory, I think that makes sense in my head anyways. So that's the semi-sized, and then this was the unsized Confucius. Again, don't know if I'm saying that right. And it did not bleed as much as the unsized Xuan seemed to bleed. And I should say these last 2 are from Hiromi. Again, don't know if I'm saying that right. Alright, this is the Asuka Pure White. And I think this feels almost like the thickest paper so far. I have to check each one what the gypsum weight was, but this feels like the thickest, and this does not have any lines going through it. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Okay, I think this one might actually be the least absorbent. I don't know if you can see, but the water really kind of beads up on it. However, the ink glides across it beautifully, and you really don't get any bleed with the pen with this at all. So I don't know, this could be my favorite. I don't know. All right, this next paper, I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I'll put it down there in the description if I find it. It is by far the thinnest paper, and this almost feels more like a fabric than a paper, but it's definitely like really quite strong. Almost feels like a stabilizer, a fabric stabilizer. But anyways, I put down 2 pieces of white paper so you didn't get the see-through from the other ink, and yeah, let's see how this goes. All right, I'm gonna let all of these dry and then come back and look at them again. This first one is pretty dry, and I also want to see like, oh, sorry, out of camera. So this first one is pretty dry, but I also want to see like how much paper like crinkles up. Not that I'm probably going to be putting this much water media on these, but you know, just a good experiment. So going to see how they crinkle up or don't crinkle up. Good afternoon, all. I am actually in the studio putting some leftovers away in the freezer here. But I actually wanted to flip the camera around and show you those papers. They're completely dry now. And so I thought I would flip the camera around and kind of show you how much they crinkled up and kind of what they look like. All right, I thought I would show you the three that kind of crinkled up the most. The first one was this Wenzhou Mulberry paper, and I think you can tell on camera, but it kind of really bubbled up here. It's not laying flat at all. Where I didn't add that much water media, it's still pretty flat, but in this area it's really bubbled up. And then if I pan over, this Unsized Confucius one, again, I don't know if I'm saying those right. I know I keep saying that, but it bubbled up quite a bit, again, where I added a lot of water, this area, this area. These remained fairly flat, but this corner bubbled up because there's a lot of ink and water media there as well. And then the next one was this Asuka one. And again, it bubbled up quite a bit where I added a lot of the ink and water. Now, also with this one, let me see if I can zoom in enough. Yeah, there. I think you can see that. So this paper really kind of shredded a bit. I don't know, again, if that's the right term I'm using, but it did not, you know, this paper I think took the water the least well. Okay, this is the really thin paper, and it did not bubble up at all with the water media. But I think a lot of it actually sunk into the paper underneath, the mixed media paper that I had down, because it is so incredibly thin. This is unique. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to use this for what I have, kind of what I'm thinking about, but this is definitely a unique paper. All right, then moving on to the Xuan, the Xuan paper. This is the unsized one, and it did kind of crinkle up some, not as much as the other ones, but it definitely crinkled up some where that ink and water was. And this is the semi-sized Xuan paper, and it really did not bubble up at all. It pretty much lays flat still, just a slight little bit, but not a whole lot. And I actually think so far this happens to be my favorite. Now, who knows how it's going to cooperate with the encaustic medium, encaustic wax. That's going to be the next test for all of these. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get to testing that out before I release this video. If I do, obviously I'll stick it in here now. But if not, I do hope that was somewhat interesting for you and not too boring testing out papers. But I just thought maybe some of you were looking for other materials and things like that, perhaps to experiment with the encaustic. So maybe this was helpful for that. And if you have any questions on any of this papers, I'm going to leave everything, like I said. Hopefully I'll be able to find all of the names, proper spelling, all of that, where I ordered them from, and I'll link that down below in the description box. So, but if you have any questions other than that, definitely reach out, let me know, shout out in the comments, whatever. And if you have any favorite thin papers, or thick, but I'm specifically looking for thin, but if you have any thin or thick papers that might be helpful for somebody else that you like to use ink with and or encaustic, also let me know down there below in the comments. I'm always looking for, you know, new supplies to purchase. Who doesn't love new supplies? Anyways, hope you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.